Hey Fly Tires, welcome back. I'm Matt, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Now I've got a really old pattern for you today. This is the second one in the classic winged wet fly series. This is called a cow dung. Now the cow dung is actually an insect. It's also called a yellow dung fly or a golden dung fly. It's not an aquatic insect, it is a terrestrial, and it's a pretty cool bug. The fly actually feeds on larvae that are hatched inside of, cow dung. And sometimes cow pastures are near trout streams, and these flies fly around. They get over the water, they land in the water, and they drown because, they're not aquatic insects. They're not used to being in the water. So they quickly sink, and the trout eat them. That's why you fish this thing like a wet fly. Now, we don't really know the history of this, but we know it's a very old fly. Isaak Walson, you know him from the Compleat Angler of 1653, he mentioned this. So the fly's been around hundreds of years. It's a pretty cool pattern, very easy to tie. I think you're gonna like it. Let's give it a shot. So there you go in the vise, the cow dung. Now I'm going to be tying this on a size 12. The recipe says you can go as small as a 16. So let's get that in there pretty straight. And I'm going to lay down a base of black thread. I am using 70 denier UTC. Take it all the way back to where we're going to start the back of the body. Okay, I didn't take it as far back as I do on some of the flies with tails because we're going to put a little tag on this one. So this is Mylar tinsel, I think size 14, which is probably a medium. So let's just catch this in gold side toward the hook. One wrap right there, and I'm going to give it a little bit of an angle so when I flip it over, it will be wrapping a little bit cleaner. And don't worry if you've got a little lump. We don't have to have this perfectly smooth like we would a tinsel body. So I'm going to use 2 wraps, just a little touch of gold right here, 2 turns, and then just try to get them smooth. And if you want to do 3 turns to keep it smoother, you can, but know that front turn is going to be covered up with some of the body. So you see that? Those back 2 turns right there. I can back this off just a little and then catch this tinsel in. Okay, 2 thread wraps, got that caught in pretty well. Now maybe just one more to really secure this. Let's snip this excess tinsel off and then tie in our dubbing, which is a pretty cool mix of rabbit. Put a little wax on your thread first. And the rabbit I'm talking about, it's mostly olive. So this is olive, but I've mixed in some orange. So it looks more orange because just the orange is a more dominant color, but it was probably 60% olive and then 40% orange. So just dub this on here pretty thin, maybe a 3-inch noodle. Okay, let's see how that's going to look. I'm using the first couple of wraps to get me right back there. And as soon as you have one wrap where you're laying dubbing down, you can spin it just a little bit tighter and pull that noodle a little thinner. Now we should be good to go. And just wrap a smooth body on up. Build a little bit of taper if you want. It's not all that important here. Okay, I think that should be enough to finish this body right here. And take it up probably, I would say, a good eye length behind the eye. So we do have a throat and a wing. So if you got any stray fibers, you can just pluck them out now or trim them, or don't worry about them. I like it to be a little bit buggy. I think that looks pretty cool. So for the throat, it's really just a light color, maybe a light brown, almost a ginger color. And you can use any fibers. You can use hen, you can use rooster. I wouldn't want it to be too soft though. So this is a rooster. If you do use a rooster, pick some of the softer fibers, but not as soft as maybe a hen soft hackle. So I'll catch this in with a pinch wrap right there. And then that's about the length I want. So I'm going to put a second wrap and then arrange it before I snip off the excess, just to make sure it's coming off the bottom like I want. So take a look at that. It is coming off the bottom, but I don't want them swept back as pronounced as that is. So what I will do, I'll put one more locking wrap, and then I'm going to lift these up and then try to put a wrap right under it. And sometimes this will help prop those fibers, out from the hook. So there we go. That's a little bit more of what I want. So another locking wrap right here. And now let's just snip off this excess. I'm getting a little close to the eye of the hook, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to get these cut off. Okay, so it's a little bit messy right there, but let me show you what we can do here. Just kind of push them up with your fingernail, and then we'll put a few wraps in here to just bury them. And you don't have to be as economical with your thread wraps as you would a dry fly. So I think that's fine. We got most of them buried right there. Now, let's put in our wing. Now, I love working with turkey wings. I think they're just a bit easier than duck. So what I'm using right here, this one is a turkey wing mottled oak #1. Now remember this trick. Take a size of the hook that you're using, put it in some hackle pliers, and then you can just reach in here and pull that out. That's the size of the wing you want. That will be just about the right proportions. So take a matching pair from the left and right slip of the turkey wing, and then, dull sides together. Measure your length a little bit past the bend of the hook. It's a pretty long winged fly, so I think that right there is going to work. And then what you'll want to do is just hold them fairly tight. Make sure your thread is where you want the back of the head to be. So hold them fairly tight with your material hand when you put a pinch wrap in here, and pull the pinch wrap down while they're still pretty tight. Now we can do one more wrap right here and then check them. Are they coming off the top like we want? I think so. I got them bunched up just a little bit. You can see a little bit of a wrinkle in there, more so on this side than on the side toward the camera. But I think we can live with that. It's pretty flat right here. So I think, just adjust them if you need to. I don't know if that did too much for it, but hey, I'm gonna live with it as a fishing fly, and this will certainly work. So a couple more securing wraps right here. Now take your scissors and lift these up, and then just snip this as close as you can get it right here. Now we got a little bit of cleanup on the head right here. Again, you could singe these if you want. I'm not going to. I'm just going to take my thread right back up here, push them up with my fingernail, and then build this head right here. Just trying to cover up that and make sure it's an all black head. I think that's going to be fine. Does that throat still look okay? Yeah, it looks fine. We're ready for a wet finish and then a drop of head cement. And then the cow dung, very old pattern, several 100-year-old pattern, but still tied and still fished today, will be done. Ready to go in your fly box. Fish it like you would any winged wet fly. Pretty cool pattern, fun to tie. Thanks for watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.